Okay, so you think the world of work is already getting a little weird? Well, hold on. A recent viral take suggests it's about to get a whole lot stranger with this new concept, literally paying for your own entry-level job. It sounds absolutely insane, I know, but let's actually unpack the argument behind it.
This is it. This is the core idea, right from the source. And let's be super clear, we are not talking about another unpaid internship here. We're talking about you, the employee, actively paying your employer for the privilege of working for them. It's a shocking idea for sure, but the logic behind it tells you a lot about where the corporate world is today.
So, that's really the big question we're tackling, right? Is this just some unhinged, out there idea from one person? Or, and this is the scary part, is it the logical final step of a trend that's been building for years? According to the source material we're looking at, it's definitely the second one. All right, first things first, let's dig into how this whole proposal is framed, because it's not presented as exploitation. Oh no, it's pitched as an opportunity. So pay to work completely flips the script. I mean, think about it. Instead of a company investing in you, its new hire, you are investing in the company with your own cash, all for the promise of getting that crucial first year or two of experience on your resume. Now you might be asking, what's the justification for something like this? Well, the argument basically goes like this. Fresh graduates are a pain. They're an inconvenience. Now that AI can handle all the simple stuff and companies are obsessed with immediate wins, the cost and hassle of training someone new gets shifted entirely onto the new hire themselves. You're probably sitting there thinking, how on earth could we ever get to a point where this is considered normal? Well, the source explains this with a really powerful metaphor. And here it is. The host calls it a staircase of bullshit. The idea is that each new corporate norm that devalues your labor is just another step up on this staircase. They're added one by one, slowly, until what was once unthinkable just becomes the new normal. So, according to this argument, pay to work didn't just appear out of nowhere. No, it's the fourth step on a staircase that we've all been climbing for a while now. Let's take a look at the 3 steps that came right before it. And here they are, the unpaid internship, what's called the contractor trap, and the rise of perks over pay. The argument is that each one of these slowly but surely laid the groundwork for the next step up. It all started right here with step 1. This was the moment a paycheck was successfully rebranded as an opportunity. Companies figured out they could get labor for free by just telling young people they should be grateful for the experience. This was the critical first move, separating the idea of work from the idea of getting paid for it. Next up was the so-called contractor trap. This is where stable, full-time jobs with benefits and sick days got reclassified as freelance gigs. And the spin was brilliant, right? The loss of all that security and all those benefits was sold to us as a gain in flexibility and the freedom of being your own boss, even when the company still sets your rates and can get rid of you tomorrow. And that brings us to the final step before this whole pay-to-work idea, perks over pay. This is where the good old-fashioned annual raise was quietly replaced with the idea of company culture. All of a sudden, a ping pong table and free snacks were positioned as being more valuable than, actual money to pay your rent. The message was clear. You should be happy to be a part of something meaningful, not something so shallow as a good salary. So, how do companies actually get people to accept less and less for their work? Well, according to the source, it all comes down to some very clever psychological framing. This slide really breaks down what the source calls a kind of dark psychology. The whole idea is that every single time something is taken away from the employee, it's just rebranded as a benefit. No salary? That's a prestigious learning opportunity. No job security? That's just empowering flexibility. And this is the most twisted part of it all. If you push back, if you reject that unpaid internship, or if you ask for a real raise instead of just celebrating the culture, the framing makes it seem like you're the one with the problem. You're not willing to invest in yourself. You don't have enough grit. You care about shallow things like money. See how that works? The blame is shifted entirely onto you. Okay, so is this just a downward spiral with no way out? Is this our future? Well, the source actually proposes a solution, and honestly, it's surprisingly simple. First though, we have to understand the core conflict that got us here. Companies are desperate for experienced leaders, but they're completely unwilling to create them. They won't endure the fresh graduate because they're chasing those immediate wins. It's a fundamental contradiction. You can't have one without the other. So what's the big solution? It's just to do the thing that used to be totally normal. Hire young people for actual paying entry-level jobs. Invest in them, train them, nurture their talent,
Give them real benefits and pay raises so they have a reason to stick around and grow into those senior leaders that you desperately need. It's not rocket science, it's just a basic commitment to building a workforce.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. This whole journey, from unpaid internships all the way to the insane idea of paying to work, forces us all to ask a really critical question. At what point does an opportunity stop being a benefit and start becoming a cost? The answer to that question could literally define the future of work for all of us.